The sugya we are discussing today, I find myself almost every week saying, the sugya we're discussing today is a fascinating sugya, because I can't really remember any sugya that I discussed which was not a fascinating sugya. But this is definitely one of them, and that is Adlukas Anedes Bebeis HaKnesses. And it is interesting because this minhag has no source in Chazal, neither Bavli nor Yerushalmi. It is a minhag that started in the days of the Rishonim, and today it is a minhag Bekol Beit Yisrael. Sfari, Ashkenazi, Litvish, Hasidish, Maran, Neturei Karta. This is a minhag which has no source in Chazal, but it was accepted in the entirety of Jewish people, wherever people light Chanukah in their homes, they do so in Shuls as well. However, when this minhag was niskabel, not everybody agreed to it, and some Rishonim opposed this minhag. So in our today's discussion, we start off with the fundamentals before going into details, and the greater part of today's shiur will deal with brocha ala minhag. We say a brocha on a minhag, but before we deal with the general question of brocha on a minhag, we want to understand where this minhag comes from, what is the origin of the minhag, and what is the reasoning, what's the rationale, why do we light Ner Chanukah in Shul if everyone is makayim the mitzvah at home in the way Chazal were metakim the mitzvah. So let us start off with the Rishonim, with the Tanya Shebore Aleket, which we have on our sources, because we start off with the sources that question the minhag, and then we will discuss what is the rationale and the reasoning of this minhag. So on our source sheet, on the top of the page, mamish on the top of the page, as we start off, we have some fundamental sources, b'divrei Rabbeinu Arishonim, and that is the Shebore Aleket and the Tanya Rabbasi. Kosav Baal Hadibrois, and I'm quoting from Shebore Aleket Semakuf Pei. Who is the Baal Hadibrois? That is the Sefer Ha'itur. And why is he called Baal Hadibrois? Because this Sefer has a very interesting structure, and it is based on Aseres Hadibrois. And therefore, many poskim quote him as Baal Hadibrois, and that is Sefer Ha'itur. Kosav Baal Hadibrois. Na'ago lahadlik Chanukah bebeis HaKnesses. יש מקום שנהגו להניח על פסח, יש מניח הנושא באמצע בייס הכנסת. עד כאן דברו. So this is interesting because both minhagim he mentions don't fit in with our minhag. So some congregations are madlik bepesach beyis haknesses mebachutz. He does it right mebachutz, but pesach beyis haknesses. So if it's ala pesach, probably it is based on Divrei Chazal, Pesach, Beisai, Mibachutz. But there are other places where the minhag is Be'emtza Beis HaKnesses. That means on the bima, right in the middle of the Beis HaKnesses. V'gam onu noagin lahadlik bebeis HaKnesses v'lo yadanu shorosh v'anaf leminhag hazeh. It is our minhag as well, but we don't know where this comes from. Moiri Reb Yehuda, Ochi Sheini. Well, the Shebore Aleket quotes his brothers, and he had several brothers that he quotes, and therefore he says, my second brother was also my Rebbe, Moiri Reb Yehuda Ochi Sheini, hoyu nimna melahadlika shaloi levorech oleho, v'chein dati noita, v'chi macher shekol achad v'achad madlik bebeisoi, ma tzorach ladlik bebeis haknesses. So he wonders, why do we need to light in Shul if everybody is madlik bebayis? So, and therefore, my brother, my Rebbe, Oyonim Nemelahadlik, Ve'ilu Hoya Orchin Yishenim Bebeis HaKnesses, היוםהשחור להדליק, דקייבר לחסלי חי בני חנוכה, ומאין שם אורחים, מה צורך להדליק? ושמה, מפני שהיא בייס דירה, אין להדליק. I don't get the last line. It's not clear. There must be a mistake. The printer's mistake. V'shema mepnei shehi beis dira ein lahadlik. I don't know what he means. So, ksav yad beis, shemi beis dira lachazen ha-knesses, bebeis ha-knesses nahagu ken. So in our days, when there is no chazan ha-knesses that lives in Shul, ein lahadlik. So maybe that is the proper gersa. So what we see in Shabbat Le'eleket, the entire minig is questionable. And he and his brother don't even like the minig. And even in those places where there were madlik and basic knesses, some al Pesach habayis, to the door, to the entrance, and some be'emsa basic knesses. Similar in Tanya Rabosi, who was also one of the Rishonim, Kosim Baradibris. Nago lahadlik ne Chanukah be'basic knesses. Yes, nago lahadlik al Pesach. Yes, be'emsa basic knesses. Min ha'geinu להדליקה בבייס הכנסת, שמן להדליקה ברעוכם, ועבור מי שלא היה לו שמן להדליק נחנקה בבייסוי. אבל מוירי, הרב חביבי, היה נמנו להדליקה בבייס הכנסת כדי שלא לבורך עליהם. אבל אם היו אורחים ישנים בבייס הכנסת, אורחים עצמם צריכים להדליק. This is very similar to שבוי להלקת. So these two sources question the entire minhag. And even those that were noheg lahadlik, some the entrance to the basic knesset, some in the middle of the shul, and that is not our minhag. We turn right, and that is the kolbo. Nagu kol hamakoymis lahadlik nechaneke bebasic knesses, kol hamakoymis. So in the days of the kolboy, this minhag was already commonplace. And he says, Kol hamakoymis, we all light in Shul. Why? It is not clear. Does he mean guests? No. Unlike Shabbat Le'eleket and Tanya Rabosi, they say maybe the origin of this minhag is because of guests. He says, so we live in an age in which most people are learned. In days of yore, there were far many more Amei Oretz than there are today. There were so many illiterate people, Goyim. But even in the Jewish camp, there were more Amei Oretz than there are today. Is that because we're better than our forefathers? I say no. I say the Amei Oretz of yore are the non-from of today. So once even those that were schwach in their Yiddishkeit, but they came to Shul, they were believers. So the Jews that we actually lost, those are the Amei Oretz of yore. But anyway, we won't waste time on anthropology and sociology, but the fact is, Kolbe writes, why do we light in Shul? There are people that don't light at home. Either they don't know how to say the brachas, they don't know the halachas. So we light for them. Gam ki uhidu mitzvah bepirsum hanes. But why do we need to make more pirsum hanes than Chazal had in mind? V'zeichel hamikdash. So that's another reason. Zeichel hamikdash. So when each individual lights al Pesach based on Mebachos, or in the house, or out, or at the window, that is a Zeichel hanes. The Kolbe says the minhag is to make a Zeichel hamikdash, and not only a Zeichel hanes. Yes, makoyim she'ein choshishin somach lePesach ela lefnei ha'heichal. That's minhag number 3, not next to the door, not in the middle of the shul, but rather lefnei ha'heichal. But he doesn't write which side, left or right. But this is minhag number 3, lefnei ha'heichal. That means next to the Aron Kodesh. ומה שאמרנו שמניח נר חנוכה משמאל, so we should light the ner Chanukah on the left. יש אומרים דווקא בפסח שיש בו מזוזה מדליקים בשמאל, אבל האם במזוז יניחנה במין? כן כוסף אלף, אך במסע כאן סלק המזוזה מדליק בימין. ואוי, דמי דמקדוש, שוי מנורה, מימין בדורוים. is ימין דורוים. Well, if you're facing Mizrach, then your right would be south. And because in Beis HaMikdash, Menorah b'Doroim, and that is why the minhag is to light biyamin. That means if your Aron Kodesh is facing Mizrach, like most shuls in Chutz La'aretz, which face Eretz Yisrael, and that is east, then you light liyamin Aron HaKodesh. Our minhag is different. But before we go to the Shulchan Aruch, let's just have a brief look at the Rivash. The Rivash in Kuf Yud Aleph comes up with a new explanation. Why do we light Ner Chanukah in Shul? And he writes, this minhag was born because we no longer light Al Pesach Habayis Mebachutz. So in the source of the Sugya Shabbos Kuf Aleph, ner Chanukah mitzvah nanicha al Pesach beis mebachutz ubeshas hasakona manicho al shulchanoi v'dayoi. A year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, because Baruch Hashem, we've been learning together for the past few years, I already gave a shiur about mokoim hadlokas ner Chanukah. And I spoke about the various different minhagim. In Israel, most people light Al Pesach Habayis Mebachutz. In America, even though we have huge Jewish communities, which were predominantly from Borough Park, Flatbush, Williamsburg, where the Hasidim live, and dozens of other communities that are at a Jewish majority, but I think nobody really lights Al Pesach Habayis Mebachutz. Many people light on a window facing the street, but not outdoors Al Pesach Habayis. The common minhag in Eretz Yisrael is just like in the days of Chazal, Pesach Beisoy Mebachutz. However, Hasidim, even in Eretz Yisrael, light in their homes, usually at one of the doors, in the living room or the dining room, either going out to the porch or from one room to the other, mezuzah yabim, ner Chanukah b'smol. And as I told you a year or two ago, I light 2 Chanukias. I light in my home. I have a big door. Many of you visited my home. The living room, dining room is just one big room in my house. And then there's a door facing out to a backyard. And that is where I light. This is a biyamin ner Chanukah b'smol. But nobody could see that Chanukah besides my family. So I also light Al Pesach Habayis Mebachutz. And people ask me, on which of the 2 do I say a bracha? And I say a bracha ad loka b'fnim. But even before I say a Neder Saloli, I just take 15 steps. And I walk out and I also light the Chanukah b'chutz. And therefore the bracha applies to both. There is no hefsek. I make no hefsek between the bracha and both menorahs that I light. Why do I do this? Seems to be a strange minhag. I light b'fnim because that is what my father did, and that's what my Rebbe did. And I very much cherish minhag avos. And I think it is what we should do. Yizharu b'minhag avosechem shebiyadechem. Especially my father was a great Talmid Chacham, and that's what my great Rebbe did. On the other hand, I see no reason in the world, living in Eretz Yisrael, not to be Mekayim the mitzvah b'shleimus, exactly the way Chazal envisioned this mitzvah, and they were metakel. So it's in the Gemara, it's in the Rambam, it's in the Tur, it's in the Shulchan Aruch, Pesach Beis Soim Mebachitz. Why not? We're not afraid of the Goyim. We're not living in Golas. And therefore, I light Pesach Beis Mebachitz, and I light in my home as well. So the Livash says, because we don't light outside, and we only make Pesum Nissa for our families, so we're missing out Pesum Nissa. And that is where the minig of Beis Knesset came in. If we don't do Pesum Nissa for the general public, and we don't light outside of the Rishus Harabim, at least we would make Pesum Nissa for Bnei HaKehillah, for the Tzibur. And that is why the minig was born to light in the Beis Knesset. So how many reasons do we have for Adlukas and Chanukah Beis Knesset? I think we have 5. Orchim. That is the reason quoted in the first two Rishonim that questioned the minig. Tanya, Rabbosi, and Shabayli Aleket. Beis Yosef, and we saw that in Kalboy. Not guess, but rather ignorance. Ignoramuses, people that aren't bookie, or maybe they just are not up to it. Either they won't light, or they don't know how to say the brachas, and we have them in mind. That is number 2. The Rivash, the reason we light in Shul is because we don't light al Pesach Habayis Mebachutz, and so many people are losing out Pesum Nissa, and therefore at least we have a limited Pesum Nissa, because everybody lights at home, so we at least we do Pesum Nissa for the Kehillah, L'Kaim Pesum Nissa. That is number 3. Number 4, Beis Yosef. I don't think we have it on our source sheet. Last day is the brachos. Many people want to light at home, and they will light at home, but they don't know how to say the brachos. And therefore, the Chazan says the brachos, and if you say the brachos, you got to light. Okay, so we do have the Beis Yosef. Nere shetiknu kem pnei orchim, shein la bayis lad. Kamo shetiknu kiddush bebeis knesset mishum orchim. Ken kosav a kolboy. It's not really in the kolboy. Maybe it's the understanding of the Beis Yosef in the kolboy, but the kolboy doesn't write it as we saw. Kosav oitam. Lefasim and esem pnei kolawam ulesaden habrachos lifneihem. Sheyesh b'zeh pirsim god l'Hashem Yisborach. B'kiddush shemo. Which is very interesting. And then he quotes the Rivash as well. And then the last reason, Zeichel Megiddah. So we have 5 different reasons. And there would be an afkamah between one and the other. If it's Zeichel Megiddah, then it should be B'doron or B'tzafoin, like the Tumas Edeshen quoted in the Beis Yosef. If it's just to make a Pesum Nissa, probably it's better in the middle of the Shul, the center of the Shul. Or maybe Al Pesach, just like the original Tekon and Min, just like in everyone's home. So these are the various explanations of the minute. And now we go to the Shulchan Aruch. We scroll down, and we have a look at the Shulchan Aruch. Tov Reish Ayin Aleph Sif Zayin. Bebeis HaKnesset menicha b'koisel doroim. Umadliken umavorchen mishum pesumei nisa. So the Shulchan Aruch says, we light in Shul, and we say a bracha mishum pesumei nisa. Mishnah Berurah Steve Cotton Mem Dalad writes, K'moi shemevorchen al halal berish chodesh. After bebeis HaKnesset urak minhag, makol mokem mevorchem olav. So the Mishnah Berurah quotes the Rivash, but it's a pele, because the Shulchan Aruch says Madlikin Amavorchen Mishum Pesum Nissa, and the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch is we do not say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh. So it's a mistake to explain the Shulchan Aruch. Why do we say a brocha? On Chanukah bebeis hakneses, kemoish mevorchem on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh afal pi she'ein a milag. Do we have Siman Tov Chav Beis on our source sheet? I didn't realize. If we do, let's see what we have in Siman Tov Chav Beis, which is Dinei Rosh Chodesh. Do we have it on our sheet? I don't know. Tov Chav Beis.
No, we don't have it. I'll get it in a second. Which
Okay.
minute?
Tov Chav Beis, Siv Beis. It's very important. So actually, do we say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh and Mechokes the Rambam and Tosfos? The Rambam in two different sources, Perek Yud Aleph Hilchos Brochos, Perek Gimel Hilchos Chanukah. Opinion of the Rambam is because Halal B'Rosh Chodesh is only a minhag, we don't say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh. Sfaradim don't, and no Sfaradi Shul would they say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh. Ashkenazim do, because the Ramah in Siman Tov Chav Beis, Siv Beis, follows the footsteps of Tosfos and the Rosh, and they say, we do say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh. So, the Mishnah Berurah is a combination of commentary and psak. And the Mishnah Berurah was an Ashkenazi, a Lithuanian girl living in Radin. So yes, for Ashkenazim, we could say a brocha on Ner Chanukah in Shul, just like we say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh. But as a commentator, you can't explain the Shulchan Aruch, who says, Madlikin umevorchen, mishum persum enesa, kamo Halal B'Rosh Chodesh, because according to Shulchan Aruch, we don't say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh. So we have it on our sheet. V'koydem Halal b'dilug, bein yuchad bein sivo. Yesh oimrim shatzivo, mevorchen ola betchila lekro es halal. ולבסוף יהללוך ויוחד אין מבורך עליו, ויש אומרים שפת ציבר אין מבורך עליו, לא בתחילה ולא בסוף, וזה דעש הרמב"ם, וכן נוהגים בכל ארץ ישראל וסביבותיה. Now, whenever the Shulchan Aruch brings יש אומרים ויש אומרים, the halacha is always in accordance to the second opinion. And the Shulchan Aruch brings the second opinion, שפת ציבר אין מבורך, and that is the minig be'eretz Yisrael v'sevivoteya. So you can't explain the mechaber in Tov Reish Ayin Aleph. We say a brocha on Chanukah in Shul, just like Halal B'Rosh Chodesh, because according to Shulchan Aruch, we do not say a brocha on Halal B'Rosh Chodesh. However, there is one additional minag in which the Shulchan Aruch once again says we do say a brocha, and that is in Siman Tov Pei Zion. Once again, I'm not sure we have it on our sheet, but it is important. So I would ask you, let's see it on our screen. Tov Pei Zion Siv Dalet. What are we dealing with Tov Pei Zion Siv Dalet? The minhag to say Halal in Shul Leil HaSeder. And once again, that is a minhag. It's not me'ikar adin. Parallel rishon shel Pesach goyimre mahalal b'tzibur b'ne'ima b'bracha tchila v'soif. And here the Mechaber doesn't bring two opinions. He clearly writes, we say bracha in halal in shul, halal sholem, bracha tchila v'soif. The Rama כל זה אין אנו נוהגים כן, כי אין אנו אומרים בלילה בבית כנסת הלל כלל. All shuls in Israel say Hallel with a bracha. Even Ashkenazim and not only Sfaradim. Usually Ashkenazim always follow the minhagim of the Ramah, but this is an exception. Chassidish, Litvish, Sfaradim. The Chazon Ish said Hallel in Shul, B'leila said it without a bracha. The Briskerov didn't say Hallel at all in Shul. So we definitely say Hallel B'leila Seder, but we do it Seder HaHagodah. It's an integral part of the Haggadah Shel Pesach. And Halal, the night of the Seder, is based on the Pasuk Shiur Yerachem Kalel Hiskadesh HaChag. So these two minhagim are exceptions. And even though the Shulchan Aruch, the Beis Yosef, follows the footsteps of the Rambam, and the Rambam's opinion is we do not say a bracha on a minhag, and that is why Halal B'Rosh Chodesh we don't say a bracha. So what would be the difference between Halal B'Rosh Chodesh, according to Shulchan Aruch we don't say a bracha, and the two minhagim, Ner Chanukah bebeis hakneses, Halal bebeis hakneses, in which we do say a bracha. Biur Hagra, and I think it's both in Tuf Reish Ayin Aleph and in Tuf Pei Zayin. If we can have a look at the Biur Hagra in Tuf Pei Zayin, where we are right now. Siv Dalet. Could we scroll down a bit and see whether there is an addition to this? I don't think so.
This is the end, Rebbe. This is the end right here.
So we need to go back to Siman Tov Reish Ayin Aleph, where the Shulchan Aruch writes that we say a bracha and adlukas Chanukah bebeis hakneses. So we are at Tuf Pei Zayin. We go to Tuf Reish Ayin Aleph Siv Beis Biur Hagra. No, Siv Zayin. I apologize. It was Tuf Chav Beis Siv Beis. It's Siv Zayin. Here we are. Umevorchin, okay. Madlikin, Raya, Mahalel Beleile Psochim, Shenitkan ala Kois, Va'oimrim bebeis hakneses, Mishum Persumei Nisem. So the Biur Hagra says these two minhagim have something in common. And only these two minhagim, Shulchan Aruch says we do say a bracha. What do these two minhagim have in common? The way I understand the Biur Hagra, and it's a big chiddush, Persumei Nisem is upon each individual, but the minhag is to make a communal Persumei Nisem as well. Because Persumei Nisem is for the community. It's not only for each and every person to himself. And therefore the minhag is to have a community Persumei Nisem. And that is the common denominator, the tzad hashava between these two minhagim. So each person lights Ner Chanukah in his own private domain, either in the house or outside his door. But it says, here's Ner Chanukah. But the community together make Persumei Nisem, and that is the hadlok and beis hakneses. So every individual in his private home, in his private seder, will say Halal. But the community says Halal together. And that is the Persumei Nisem of the community. And this is the common denominator. And they go and says, what is the raya that we do Ner Chanukah in Shul with a bracha? Raya mahalal beleile psochim. So Halal is a Yerushalmi. Ner Chanukah in Shul has no source in Chazal, as I mentioned in the first comment in today's Shiur. And they go and says, these two minhagim have something in common. But we still need to explain why are they different than Halal and Chodesh. So we could understand what these two minhagim have in common and why they go and says one proves the other. Persumanissa of the tzibor, the community persumanissa. But regarding the bracha, after all, it's only a minig. So why would it be different than Halal B'Rosh Chodesh? Which brings me to the brisket of our Mara Mekoymis today are somewhat lacking. So I'll explain to you what the brisket of says. We don't necessarily need it on our screen. The brisket of is the Hilchos Brochos, Sefer Rambam, and he says, the reason that Rambam's opinion is we don't say a brocha on a minig is not because minhagim are less important than mitzvahs d'Rabbanan. Minhagim also are based on lo yisasu, mekol asher yagidu lecha. However, birchas ha-mitzvah is birchas ha-mitzvah, and a minig is not defined as a mitzvah. Both are obligatory, both are mandatory. We need to be Mekayim mitzvahs d'Rabbanan, we also need to be Mekayim minhagim, but they're different in their very nature. A minig is a minig, and a mitzvah is a mitzvah. And Chachamim were talking birchas ha-mitzvah, and because a minig is not a mitzvah, there is no bracha on a minhag. However, the Rebbe wants to explain, if Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius is a minhag, how do we say a bracha on matzah and mortar, second seder, if it's only a minhag? So the Rebbe says, when a minhag has the nature of a mitzvah, the essence of a mitzvah, the form of a mitzvah, then we say a bracha on a minhag. And therefore he says, if Chazal say you need to keep Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius, then it goes without saying, keeping Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius necessitates matzah and morah and dalet kaisis, and therefore you say a bracha. Because this minig has the nature and the form and the essence of a mitzvah. That is the brisket word. Based on that fundamental understanding, I would say this. Halal B'Rosh Chodesh is fundamentally different than Halal B'Leila Seder that we say in Shul for two reasons. Halal B'Rosh Chodesh is missing 2 chapters. So it's not really a real Halal. And if Chazal determined that Halal is certain Pirkei Tehillim, that is the essence of Halal. If we say Chutzi Halal, it's not really Halal. Number one. Number two, the Zman. Rosh Chodesh is not a time in which we should be saying Halal. Because Chazal were metakan Halal b'yomim toiv, that means Sholosh Regalim. Rosh Chodesh is not a Yom Tov. There is no Isra Asiyas Malacha. There is no Kedushas Yom Tov. And therefore, the Halal we say Rosh Chodesh is only a minig, not a mitzvah, for 2 different reasons. Zman and Etzem HaHalal. It's Halal Chosel. And in these 2 points, the Halal we say in Shul, B'Leila Seder, is different. We say Halal in its entirety, and after all, it's the first night of Pesach, which there is a chiyuv to say Halal, based on the Novi, Hashi Yelachem Kalel Eskadosh Echad. The chiyuv, the mitzvah, is to say it b'Seder Haggadah, not in Shul. It's a minhag, not more than a minig, but it's a minig that has the form and essence of a mitzvah. Because it is a zman which is ra'ui lahalal, and you say halal sholem, masha'inken halal shchodesh, in which you do not say halal in its entirety, and it's not really a zman that necessitates halal. And in these 2 fundamentals, Ner Chanukah b'Beis HaKnesses is similar to Halal B'Leila Seder in Shul and not to Halal B'Rosh Chodesh, because it's Chanukah. It is a time in which we have the mitzvah Adlukas HaNer. And on the other hand, it is pursuing Nissa. And that is what Ner Chanukah is all about. And therefore, in both questions, in both definitions, once again, like the group points out, these two minhagim are essentially similar one to another. Now, Chanukah bebeis haknesses and Hala bebeis haknesses b'leil seder, and that is why in these two minhagim, even the Rambam maintains we do say a bracha. So there are three different levels of minhagim. Sukkah Mem Daled, the Gemara says, if minig arava, the hakavus mizbeach ba'arava is only minig nabiyim, we don't say a bracha. Tosfos explains because that is tiltul ba'alma. We could have Sukkah Mem Daled. Mem Daled Amud Beis. Here we are. So there's a suffix in the Gemara whether the minig of arava is minag neviim or takonas neviim. Here we are. Omer Evo, have keimne kamei de Rebbe Eliezer ber Tzodek va'aisahu gavra arava kamei shokol chovet velo birech kesova minig neviimu. And if it's only a minig, then we don't say a bracha. If it's takonas, let's have a look at Rashi. Minig neviimu begvulim velo yisoid neviim hilkach einet tzrich a bracha. That is why we don't say a bracha. So this is one of the two sources, brachas Yud Daled Amud Aleph, Sukkah Mem Daled Amud Beis, which Tosfos discusses, do we say a bracha or not? And Tosfos deals with the question of Shnei Yomim Tovim Shel Goliyos, and we do say a bracha. And why don't we say a bracha on the arava? And Tosfos says the arava is only titl ba'alma, which means, if not for the minhag, this is not an act, a deed, which has any mitzvah. It's just tiltul ba'alma. Masha ein kein matzah, or halel, or edlukas ner Chanukah. So minig arava, Gemara meforeshes, if it's only a minig, you don't say a bracha. Halal beresh chodesh, machlokes Rambam and Tosfos. Machlokes Shulchan Aruch Alamo, halal b'leil seder, and adlukas ner Chanukah, even according to the Rambam, we do say a bracha, and we explained why. So next week, Sunday, at this time, I'm going to be busy with Ner Chanukah and with the family, and so we won't have this year. So let me just share with you a brief thought. Perek Kuf Zayin in Tehillim is the perek from which we learn about Hidayah, giving thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Arba tzrichim la'Eidos. And the Gemara in Brachos Nun Daled learns who are the four that need to bring a korban toida, and they need to say Berchos HaGoyimel. Those that travel the seas, traveling the deserts, people that were sick and had a refuah shalema, and people that were jailed and they were freed. And this perek in Tehillim, the refrain, the pasuk we say 4 times is Yoidu L'Hashem Chazdoi v'nifla'osav livnei Adam. The pasuk has 2 parts, essentially 2 different ideas. So in pasuk Ches, Yoidu L'Hashem Chazdoi v'nifla'osav livnei Adam. Once again in pasuk Tes Vav. So the pasuk starts off with Yordei Yamim, Holchem et Boriyos, Chof Aleph, and once again I think in Chof Teches. Once again in Chof Ches. So this pasuk is the refrain, and Yor the Yamim, Holchem et Boriyos, Chodesh Nesaper, Osio, Shiyotze Mebeis Asuri. Yodel Hashem Chasdo is number one. When a person is Zoichut to Chasdo Shemayim, he needs to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Recognition and awareness that it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu that looked down from the heavens, salvaged us from pain, from suffering, from danger. Yodel Hashem Chasdo is what we would call a Zeichal HaNes. Nifla'oisa v'livnei Adam is persumei nesa. So when a person is Zeichet to a Nes, there are two obligations he bears. One is between him and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not for others. And that is Yodel Hashem Chasdai. Number two is persumei nesa, not only Zeichel HaNes. Make it known to others. Give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in public. And that is the concept of persuminess. So there might be a difference between Halal that we say B'leila Seder, which is more a manifestation of Yodel Hashem Chasdai, and Adlokas Chanukah v'Pesach Beisoy Mebachutz, which is persuminess. However, the meaning of Chassidim is to light in your home, even though today, and almost everywhere in the world, there's not really a sakana. So to our dismay, we are witnessing a rise in anti-Semitism that's still, for many years, and in most places in the world, we wouldn't define it as a sakana to light Ner Chanukah outside your homes. So I've been writing tshuvas since Simchas Torah. Who knows, maybe 4 years ago, the period of COVID. After a year of COVID, I printed a sefer, 650 pages on COVID. I don't know, but I've been writing quite a lot. Fascinating questions, some strange ones in this period of war. Maybe we'll have a sefer at some stage. I don't know. But people called me primarily from France, who were afraid to have mezuzahs. Could somebody take the mezuzahs off his door because he's afraid? And I thought that's a horrific question, a painful question, because the mezuzah is a shemira. And if you're afraid and you didn't have a mezuzah up to now, you should run out and buy one. And if you're not sure your mezuzah is a kosher mezuzah, you should have it checked. Taking off your mezuzah because you're afraid doesn't make sense. You know, it's a paradox. If you're afraid, you need your mezuzah. So what could I say? If we would define this as a pikuach nefesh situation, pikuach nefesh overrides Yom Kippur, overrides Shabbos, it overrides mezuzah. But I don't think we're dealing with a pikuach nefesh situation. So I think maybe you should buy a bigger mezuzah than you ever had, and one that is more mahuda. So I wrote a tshuva about this, and I brought together many sources, how important mezuzah is dafka in times of danger and in times of stress. But anyway, Ner Chanukah Pesach Beisim B'chutz is a manifestation, an expression of persuminess. But when you light Ner Chanukah in your own home, it is more Zeichel HaNes for you and your family. Yodel Hashem Chasdai. So in our lives, if you just open your eyes, you could feel and see so much Chasdei Shemayim, Al Kol Neshima V'Neshima. Even in these terrible days of war, and people are getting killed. This morning, a wonderful family came to visit me. Their son was killed in Gaza, 2 weeks ago, they stood up from the Shiva. I wanted to go visit them for a Shiva call, and they said no. They want a private time with me. So when the Shiva is over, they'll come over to my house and spend some time with this wonderful family from Beit Shemesh. And so So I'm not mentioning names because, people deserve their privacy. I don't think they would like me to mention the names, but the mother of the young soldier that was killed was part of a group learning and all the ladies participating in that study group, learned to the schus of their children. And this young soldier was killed. And I was so moved when the lady asked, could I keep on learning even Shivas Yemei Avelis? Nobody could blame this woman if she would slam the Sefer Shat and she would say, Rabbeinu Bachye, you didn't help me. I thought if I'm going to learn Shara B'tochen, my son will come back home, and he didn't. Well, definitely wouldn't be the right response, but Eino dem Nitbas al Tzaroi. But this woman feels she needs even more chizik in B'tochen. So she asked me, could I keep on learning Chayvus L'Vavos Shara B'tochen in Shivas Yemei Avelis? And I said, yes, you could. Keep on your learning, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be mechazik you. But if we just want to open our eyes, even with all this pain and suffering and tragedy, we see so many miracles. We see so many miracles and so many little manifestations of Chasdei Shemayim. So, last week's parsha, we learned the story of Yosef Tzaddik and his brothers. He was thrown into the pit. It's actually this week's parsha, not next week's parsha. It's this parsha. And his brothers throw him into the pit, and then they take him out and they sell him to Arabs. And actually brings, usually the Arabs would carry neft, which has a very unpleasant smell. Kodesh Baruch Hu made a miracle, and they were carrying besamim. If we try to imagine how Yosef feels in that dark day of his life, his brothers throw him into a pit which is full of scorpions and snakes, putting his life in immediate danger. After an hour or so, they put him out of the pit. And he is sure, these are my brothers, I know them. They had a crazy moment of rage, but they regretted it. And they're taking me back home. That's probably what he thought. He's taken out of the pit, and to his shock, they don't mean to bring him home. They just sell him to savages, strange people, doesn't even know their language. They sell him as a slave. And wouldn't we imagine, oh, I'm so happy, what a pleasant smell, what a pleasant smell. So happy that I have perfume. It's ridiculous. In this situation, he probably didn't care much whether he's smelling neft, oil, or perfume. So the Baalei Mussar explained, no, it's not about the smell. Kadosh Baruch Hu just wants to convey a message. Yosef, I have not forgotten you, and I have not forsaken you. I'm here right next to you in the pit. I'm here right next to you on the camel that is taking you away, far away from home. It's a gzeira, and we don't understand why HaKadosh Baruch Hu does gzeiras. Yes, it's unpleasant, but don't think I forgot about you. I'm here with you. And that was a little nace, which is just a message, Min HaShamayim. Yosef, I'm here with you. I have not forsaken you. I didn't forget about you. I don't forget about anyone. Imoi unoichi betzara, v'kol tzaratam lo tzar. So one of the messages of Chanukah is, whenever we rejoice and we make a zeicher to fabulousness, supernatural events, The Ramban explains at the end of Parshas Bo, it is just to teach us that everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the greatest miracle of all is nature. אין לנו חלק בתורס מוישה עד שנדע שכל בוראנו ומקראנו הם ניסים, אין בהם טבע ומנהגו של עולם. ויודעתו עם לבבך, השם הוא האלוקים. Hashem is the name of a Kodesh Baruch Hu that represents supernatural phenomena. Elokim is begematria hateva. Hashem is also the Shem that always indicates rachamim. Elokim is midas adin. So these two ideas are not two separate ideas, two sides of the same coin. Nature is midas adin. Miracles always are a manifestation of midas harachamim. So when we are zeicha to supernatural events like Kriyas Yamsuf, like Ner Pachas Shemen, they just come to teach us that midas adin is also from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He didn't forget and he didn't forsake. That was the message of the Besamim that those Arab caravan carried. So from the Nes Pachas Shemen, we are to appreciate that the victory of the Chashmonaim was also a miracle. So let us hope that in the coming week, as we rejoice the Nes of Chanukah, we will once again be Zeicha to Nisan. Kodesh Baruch Hu should be with our soldiers, bring them all safely home, and Kodesh Baruch Hu should be with all of us. This Thursday, there was a terrible terror attack in Yerushalayim. You know, sometimes the Haredi community, and I'm not saying this as criticism, wonderful community, which I am proudly to be part of, but we are somewhat detached from this war. Very few of us have kids in the army. And not always do we feel the pain of thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of young people whose life is in danger every moment. Tens of thousands of families, mothers and fathers that can't sleep by night because they're worried. And with all our goodwill, we feel somewhat detached. And then from time to time, we just get a sledgehammer on the head. So this Thursday, 4 people were killed, 3 by the terrorists, number 4 tragically by friendly fire. So a Choshev Dayan perished, Rav Wasserman, whom I knew very well, a gewaldige Talmid Chochem, and Friday I went to see his family. A young lady, married less than a year ago, waiting for her first child. Such a tragedy, she was killed. And another mechaneches. And one of the people that were badly injured is my Talmud. Learned in my kollel Choshev Dayan, Avidan Moshe ben Mina Rivka. Daven for him. So yes, these were Hamish people, Anshe Shlomeinu. So yes, this war is not only about them, it's about us. It's about each and every one of us. It's about you and not only about us. Yesterday night, I spent an hour with a group of 25 Balabatim from America, and this is so inspiring to me. So wonderful. 25 Balabatim from 2 shuls in Passaic, New Jersey. Spent an hour with them. And when I see these people coming from America, I say, are you aware that you're crazy people? You're not normal people. You shouldn't be here. So there's a war raging in the Ukraine the last year and a half. And I don't think that thousands of Ukrainians came to visit Kiev and Lviv and Odessa. Well, thousands went to Uman. That's a different story. But Ukrainians aren't flocking to the Ukraine. Tens of thousands of Ukrainians left the country. 1 million Russians left the country. So why are we such strange people? There's a terrible war raging in Israel, and everybody is coming here. So I told the people I met yesterday, you're going down south. Are you aware you might get a rocket on your head? Or you might be involved in a terror attack? That's what sets us apart. Yes, we are a strange people. Because we are a Kadosh Baruch Hu's people. And all the Jews are like one big extended family. Everybody is coming. See the Shlit, V'Shamaran, everybody is coming. All communities, because we are one. So let us hope we'll see miracles in this coming week or two. And if one forgets Yalav Yavai in benching, at the end of benching, when he says Urachamans, that are more rights, we daven and pray, and we ask for miracles. Urachaman, Uyasa, Lano, Nisim, and Kishem Shosiso Lavusenu, Biyoma, Aim Bismanazeh. So let me end today's shiur with this same tefillah. Hurachamon huyasa lano nisim lefrois kishem shosiso lavisenu b'yom ha'meim b'zman hazeh. The Chashmonaim were victorious against all odds. Kadosh Baruch Hu should be with our soldiers and bring them all safely home. And this war should be over fast and good. And V'tishketa oretz haba b'shalom. Kadosh Baruch Hu should give peace to our land. V'nesati shalom ba'oretz v'shachaftem be'ein machrid. Have a beautiful Chanukah.